Hey guys, welcome back. This is day 13. Can you believe it?
Unbelievable.
Day 13 of Unbeatable U. Not unbelievable, unbeatable.
Unbeatable U.
Unbeatable U. This is our month-long program for creating our unstoppable, unbeatable you. Mike G and E here by your side every step of the way to get you there. So in day 12, we talked about overwhelm, right? And we talked about some of the ways it shows up and some of the things that you do based on that. And I think probably language comes into that as well. Today, we're going to talk about language, and we're going to talk about, how that kind of affects us. And why don't you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, language is power. Language, how and what we say to ourselves, specifically to ourselves, is powerful. And I like how E puts it, where, sometimes even the way I talk to myself, for example, if I mess something up, I'll say to myself, you idiot, you can't do anything right, and I still say that, and that's terrible. And the reason I was terrible is because I would never say that to I would never say, E, you're an idiot. I wouldn't say it to a friend, my family, so why would I say it to myself or a kid or a child? So it's so important to be cautious, to be mindful, I should say, of how we speak to ourselves. So language shows up that way. And also, what's that contrast between making a shot and not making, or don't forget, what's that one?
Please remember, and I do this, my son, and sorry Anthony, I'm going to call you out on this, but my son, has a tendency to forget his keys. So instead of saying to him on a regular basis, don't forget your keys, I started changing it up and say, please remember your keys. Because when I say don't forget, that's all he hears is forget your keys.
Right.
And he does that very well. But if I say please remember, it actually sticks with him differently. And it's super important to recognize that the words you choose, even as simple as that, please remember versus don't forget, super important because it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference.
It's what the focus is on, right? One's on forgetting, the other one's on remembering. So that's the focus. And that's why in the worksheet below today, we're going to ask you to identify, hey, what's areas where your language patterns, maybe you do that. Maybe you do call yourself an idiot or silly or whatever, like I do. Identify, just be mindful. Do you do that? Identify if you do it. And also perhaps even language patterns that we just identified. Hey, don't forget, or don't miss the shot, or where's the focus?
Language comes in so many different ways. So be mindful both on how you speak to yourself and kind of take note throughout the day. And that's what our worksheet's going to have you do, is take note throughout the day. Do you every once in a while chastise yourself for something you've done wrong that you would never say to your friend or a child, right? And then also, how does it come into your world? Being mindful of that so that you can kind of shut the door, or at least limit the door and recognize it for what it is. And then where are areas that you can kind of tweak your language a little bit more to say the same thing but in a more positive way. And so those are the things that I think are going to make a huge difference for you, and we've asked you to work on in the worksheet below.
And this is a biggie because the next step we'll be talking about is falling off track. And language, when we fall off track, which we will, the language we use when we fall off track can either help us get back on faster or not get back. So, right?
That's huge.
So that'll be the next step. But before that'll be next time. But for right now, worksheet below.
In the worksheet below. And we will see you next time on day 14 for falling off track.
That's right.
Ciao.
Cheers.